Okay, so today we are going to learn you guys how to scan a structure. A structure is composed of multiple things. In the creative tab there is a separate tab for all those things. We have some blocks and we also have some items. Some special blocks that do some epic things and some like normal shit. And I will showcase every one, and then I will showcase the whole GUI. So we're going to start with the NPC spawn block. You can pick an NPC here, for example Gandalf, and then the NPC will spawn on the location of the block. So each time you spawn a structure, Gandalf will spawn there. Gandalf is a special case, so he will despawn. I will fix that later on in the video. I'm going to organize my inventory a bit. So let me make a table to showcase the drinks and plates and stuff, how that works. So I'm also going to replace the lighting a bit because I don't want it like that. Okay, so you have multiple blocks that you can use. You have a mug drink block. If you place it and you click on a loot table, it's a loot table because it has separate drinks that it can spawn. The first one doesn't work yet, I need to fix that. This is very whip, so now there a Rudel drink will spawn. Here a Rune drink will spawn inside a barrel. I will change it to elf to showcase that it actually depends on the block. So now that I did those two, I'm also going to place an NPC respawner. Later on I find out that it's broken, so we need to fix that too. The idea is that you can configure this all, and that it then, so for example a bird didn't work. I think do Mordane here eventually, because birds are stupid. So here you see me searching for something and I picked Mordane. You can change each setting and the system will copy that in each structure. It will always be the same, which makes that you can just prepare the structure and it will just be like how you want it to be. Okay, so now I'm going to showcase the flower pots. At the moment there is only one thing you can select, and it's elven flower. It will spawn poppies, either a red one or a yellow one. Meaning that it's random. I will add more flower options later on. So now I will show all the other special things. For this I need a chest, and I will place it down, of course, in a place where I think it's logical. This structure is like very not finished in the inside, so we will fix that. And I will, for example, take Tauradrim pyramid. This means that everything, so Minecraft has loot tables. For example, iron can be in it, gold. If that's the case for the Tauradrim, then it will spawn randomly items in the chest from that loot table. So now I will show the plate, how that works. So you place the normal plate and you add the food item in it after picking what you want. Same for the weapon rack and the armor stand. You just place it down like normal. Again, only one armor set at the moment. You place it and it will always look like that. It will always be the same strange texture. Then you pick for the weapon rack whatever you need. So in this case I did Rohan Barrow or Watchtower. So now on that place an item rack will spawn. You can also do this with item frames. For that one you need a normal chest spawner. We should like basically use the same for each one because it's always the same loot tables. So now in those item frames an item will spawn out of this loot table. Now we have two other blocks. We have the fill block. Basically what it will do is, you see those spruce beams. If you spawn a structure high, then it will fill the block above it until it finds land. This way, if you spawn it in the water, it will go to the bottom of the water and it will actually support the structure. So it will not float like like some structures do in the current mod. This way it will be way better because it just does what it needs to do, and that's make it look good. Then we have this special block that I will showcase later on and explain. So I'm just going to place it down now. But basically this block will change into the block from the biome, the top block. So for example, if I will spawn it in Mordor, it will spawn Mordor rock there. If I spawn it here in the Shire, it will be grass. If I spawn it in Gondor, it will be White Rock, or whatever the name is, Gondor Rock, I believe. So it will adjust this block to the top layer of your biome so that it can spawn like in 10 different biomes, but it will always adjust to whatever it needs. So it will blend in way better. Then we have this block, the segment GUI. This is for the multi-structures. We added a system where you can have multiple structures in one system. This block always needs to be added on the place where another one will be able to generate. So I pointed towards the other structure that can generate. So always away from your structure towards the new structure that should generate. There are two modes that the coder, me, can decide in the code itself. You have whitelist and blacklist. If something is whitelisted, then that means that you need to add each and every segment that can fit there. I will always work with blacklist because I think it's better that it just adds all the all the segments. And just removes the ones you don't want. For example, here I am removing other houses because I don't want a house to connect with a house. I only want them to connect to the bridges. So that will be fixed by typing it like this. I'm now struggling a bit because I thought I could do slashes because of subfolders, but that doesn't work yet. So I need to fix that too. The first field that I'm now editing is the name and the location of the structure. So in this case, the other structure that I don't want to connect to is Logatrim house in the Logatrim map. And then I need to decide which segment block it can't connect to, because you can have multiple segments, the block, the arrow thing. If you don't want it to connect to entrance 1, for example this block, but you want it to be able to connect to entrance 2, then you can just specify that there. For blacklist mode, the number on the end doesn't matter, that's the chance. For whitelist mode, the chance means how much chance does it have to basically spawn. So now that we did this, we can go to the next part. The next part is pretty obviously the scanning GUI. So you have a button that I just showed, and it is clear button. If you have some data in the scanner item, you can just clear it because the item will remember what you did. The first one are the scan blocks, the scan boxes actually. So in those boxes that you need to select, all the blocks that you want to like scan needs to be in the box. You will see visually the block. So I'm showcasing it now by, we still need to fix some nice things that you can just hit the air and then it also takes the coordinates instead of what I'm doing now. So now you will see the box. Everything in the red box will be scanned. Meaning that I'm now making it smaller because I don't need the part that I selected to be in it. So now everything in this will be scanned whenever I click the scan thing, every block. Usually this will be just like this, one big thing that scans. You also need to include the downfill blocks because otherwise it will not scan it in the file and will not know that it needs to fill down, because that is something that it does on spawning it. So now I'm going to add the random, the air blocks. The air blocks are very important. The air boxes consists of the places where on spawn it sets everything first to air, so as to no block. In this case, I want this to be the top of my building, so where the living area is. I don't need it to be the down part, because it's fine if that spawns in the ground. Like you can see, it now covers not the whole red box. So a lot of times it will be the full red box because you want everything. In this case, it's a water structure. The bottom part doesn't matter if it becomes air. It's even better performance-wise if that doesn't happen, because with water it will flow back, and you don't want that. You want water to just spawn like usual. The spruce blocks will just spawn and the water will stay air. Otherwise the water will start to flow and will cause maybe lag to people with a bad PC. Here I'm showcasing that you can do each pillar separately, but that's not really needed. I did it in one go, but it's just to showcase that those blocks will now be air too, and that you can add multiple air blocks. So for big structures, this is very handy to make sure that each part is air. Like you can see, I can only click 6. I can only have 6 boxes. We are fixing that. In the Biome Spawn GUI, you see some errors and that it's not working correctly. That's because I'm adding a scrolling system, well, a button system to have more pages. This will be added to each GUI with multiple box possibilities. And like you can see, I can now just select biome here, but the one bug is that I can't edit the chance field yet, which is very important because it's the chance that the biome, the structure will have to spawn in the biome. This means that you can just, the builder can decide in what biomes it spawns. Very useful, so this means that I don't need to do that. If it's part of a multi-structure, then you don't do that. Then you just keep it out of all the biomes, because you don't need a random bridge to spawn in Gondor, for example. Now I will showcase something else, something very epic, but a bit broken at the moment. You have the possibility to change blocks each time you spawn it. Now I'm adding the wood blocks, but you will see that it's kind of broken. So first you select the block that you want to change. In this case, the spruce beams. I want it to be each time you spawn it another type of block. So that's the head GUI. You add an entry and you click that. You have two options. The meta used replaces only this metadata value of this block, or ignored replaces all metadata values of this block. This is usually on used because it's metadata means the direction of the block, so you best leave it on used. Then you can go in a GUI inside of a GUI, and here you can decide all the types of blocks that it can become. You have two options again. You can do random type block, then it changes each block, or you can do random type all, then it changes all the spruce beams to, in this case, I don't know what block it is, the white one. So either it becomes per block decided, it becomes another version, or all of them become the other version. So you can do patterns this way, or you can do that it just changes all of them, which is obviously very nice. You can also decide chance if you want the pillar to become way less the one that we need, or way uniquer, then you do the chance way lower. This wooden beam one, I will remove that because it bugs. You will not see that because I didn't capture it. However, now I'm searching like what block can I change that doesn't take like ages, and I decided to change the reed bars. You will see me place reed bars, golden bars and iron bars. I will configure that. First I will configure that each bar changes separately, and then later on I will configure that they all change to gold, for example, to showcase both options, how it works. It's basically the same for the wood, but there was something wrong with the metadata because it faces certain directions and that was kind of broken. So we need to fix that. So here you just see me select them all. and I don't think I changed the chance, so it all has the equal amount of chance to spawn. Okay, I have been recording this for a while now, so I'm a bit tired. Okay, now you see in the head part of the GUI multiple fields. You can decide to, like I'm showing now, spawn the structure or automatically register it. We don't want that for like the bridge I showcased, but we want that for this house so that people can just spawn it and check it out. But we don't want it for each structure. If we don't want it, we don't fill these fields in. The first field is the name of the structure that it will become in the inventory, in the creative GUI. The second field is the color. You have two colors in the item. The first field is, I believe, the inside of the GUI, and the second is the outer layer. Then, very important, we have the origin. Normally, this is at the start of the house, before the door or something, but you don't want the rest of the structure to spawn behind you. You always want the structure to spawn fully in front of you. So now I locate it here, the first block, so if I spawn it, it will spawn there. Then we also have the altitude setting that I will explain shortly. So now we have scanned everything, we have configured all the blocks. We basically did everything needed to scan this beautiful house, except for deciding the scan name, the name that it makes the file under. It can be the same as the structure name itself. Then you have different options. You can scan it on the client or on the server. If you do it on the client, you get it. If you do it on the server generates it pretty obviously. Then you have 4 different generation settings. You can only generate it on the surface, only on the underground, or only on the water. This is only for the structures that auto-generate. So each time you spawn it with the item, then it just overrides that. You can spawn it everywhere. I just copied it, like you can see. Okay, so I write it, and now you see I loaded it in and it spawns. It spawns in the ground because I said the origin block is that block. You see that the poppies, either the flower pots became one of the two, red or yellow. Gandalf is spawned because he's Gandalf, and he is better NPC to choose. So here you see the chest is filled with loot from the Tarot Trim, Mirror Water is spawned, and some drink is spawned. Also, the item frames are filled, the weapon racks are filled, and the armor stand is filled. Now I will move on to showcase that, I'm changing Gandalf to Golem. This will not immediately take effect. Now I'm just going to showcase that each time you generate the plate, for example, is different. Either it doesn't spawn or it spawns. If it spawns, it has a chance that it has food or not. In this attempt, I think this one or the one after that, it has actually the plate and food, and the barrel also changes from each type of drink it can be, like from the list and how strong it is. So that's random too. Chest loot is always random. Same for the drink, the armor. In this case, there is only one armor set for this loot table, so it will always be the same. But like you can see, the item frames changes, and like you also can see, the windows actually are each time the same. No, different per block. Now I'm changing that it will always be, for example, gold bars. So one change and it changes your whole structure. I'm checking some stuff right now. Okay, so like you can see, I now teleported to Rohan, like we configured it in the system, and it just works. It spawns them in the river. Because it's a water structure, it will not spawn on the land. It's kind of glitchy because you saw it in the distance spawning in the land a bit, because that's still kind of glitchy. Like you can see, the fill system actually filled each block until it couldn't go further. So it stops the moment it reaches a block. This is pretty interesting because, you know, it feels nice. The soil block that I showcased, you see, it now changes to Mordor rock because that's the top layer. In Gondor it will change to Gondor rock. In grass biomes it will change to grass, and so on and so on. Moving back to the structures, I'm going a bit fast here because I'm showing all the ways to generate. So you notice that my structure that I just scanned is not equally high as the others. This is because I set the origin on the wooden beam. So it knows that it needs to spawn on this level. So it spawns correctly because all the others I did the origin a bit different. So the origin decides the spawning. The origin is the most important location of your structure. Like you can see, you also have the adjustment or the attitude function that I showed in the beginning. There are at the moment it works that you only have oh wait, first maybe you need to explain this. So you have the segment arrows. Like I said in the beginning, you need to point it towards the location of your new bridge, for example. So in your house it needs to point towards the bridge one needs to point towards the house. So back to the altitude one, at the moment it works that if you had set it on 5 and it generates, then it will pick a number between 0 and 5 to place it down, so it can spawn higher or lower. We don't really want that. We will probably add like either an option that you can pick that it's random, or that it's always the number you select, to make this part nicer, because it doesn't need to be one lower because it's kind of ugly. Did I add everything or did I say everything? Oh yeah, now I'm going to showcase the origin part. So now you will see me place the origin too lower, and that will result in the structure being equal height of the other structure. So I will now scan it and teleport or place it. You will see me place it now. So because I set the origin too higher, the structure will also spawn too higher, which means that these villages will generate in a normal way since I configured it. You will also see that I did the water better for my structure than for the other structures, because I didn't set it for the water. I set it completely until all logs, so like the scan box, but that gives a bit lag because all the water needs to flow inwards. So either you change the origin location or you do the altitude like I'm showcasing now. So I'm setting it on 2, which will mean that the origin, so spawning it with a hand, will always set it on the origin and doesn't use the altitude one. So now the origin is fixed. And like you can see, I did set it to air, so it only did that part, the rest is just underground. And now I'm flying towards the structures where I set the altitude on random. So here you will see that it's 2 down, like normal, so it will probably have picked 0 as starting one, or the level to generate. Here you see it's only 1. So you see that it's kind of different, but since the structures aren't really made for that, it's kind of strange. So this was the video. Like you can see now, the bars are always the same. I'm flying very fast. So if you have questions, feel free to ask me. Bye bye.